Hello, my name is Mr. Fuentes. I'm the welding teacher here at Hartford Technical High School. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through the shop, kind of orientate ourselves, and for everybody to see what the shop is actually like. We will talk about some of the machines, the different ways that they weld, and also how it's important that when you walk through my doors, you're safe. If you take a look around the shop from left to right, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our welding booths. And we're also going to come around the back side to show you the machines that you will be operating and operating correctly. The first machine that we're going to talk about is the gas metal arc welding, or in old terms, the MIG gun. This MIG gun here has inert gas which protects the weld from being incorrect. It has a spool instead of a rod, and the spool lasts a lot longer. The MIG gun is mainly used for construction work which is continuous. The other machine that we have here is a multitasking machine. This machine has tungsten gas arc welding and shield metal arc welding. So in this booth you have the three processes that we will be doing mostly in the course. The next machines that we're going to talk about is also a gas metal arc welding, but we have two types in this booth. The type is the one that we've already seen, which has a gas, and it needs to have that for making sure that the welds are not contaminated. The other one on the far side of the room is a flux core arc welder, which has flux, which is a cleaner. It replaces the gas inside the wire. So if you notice, there's no tanks attached to this one. While we do certifications, when we do certifications here, they do specify that the flux core arc welding is, even though it doesn't need a gas, you will use a backup gas. That's why we use both processes. This machine is a gas metal arc welding machine, but this is for aluminum only. The reason why this is set up the way it is for aluminum only is especially for the MIG gun that we use. This MIG gun is called a push-pull MIG gun, and it's not like the normal MIG gun where it just pushes the wire through. This has a small wheel inside of it that pushes and pulls at the same time. One of the things that we believe in is that the welder and the machinist need to be both knowledgeable in each processes. Inside the welding shop, we have a milling machine that we could use, and you will be going back and forth from my class to Mr. Moe's class, who is the CAM teacher, and you will be over in that class approximately 8 classes and learn how to machine. That way it gives you a better chance to work yourself through the career path and be knowledgeable enough to know more than one job. A couple of the machines that you will be learning how to operate safely is my drill presses. I have 3 drill presses, one here, and one in the back. You will learn how to place holes, drill them, make sure they're correct in the finishing process, and then it will be measured and calibrated by myself for you to pass that portion. As I said before when we were in the hallway, safety is very important. You will learn how to use these machines safely and correctly. What we have next is a vertical bandsaw. Vertical bandsaw is a machine that helps you cut pieces to a smaller tolerance than if you were just using a hacksaw or anything else, a handsaw. The vertical bandsaw, you can use it on aluminum and steel. And some of the projects that we do actually have a plexiglass that we might put in. I'll try and show you one of the incorporations with the steel and the plexiglass as we get around the shop. This might be a project for your freshman year. It could be incorporated into the other years, depending on what we need. This machine is called a hydro chop, but commonly known, this is just a shop machine. The shop machine can cut metal, punch metal, also shape metal. And if you take a look at all these plates and templates on here, it could do anything that we need it to do. Circular, square, I-beam, T-beam, regular flat stock. So it's very versatile in what it does. That keeps us to the point where if we needed coupons, which we use for the welding, we could go ahead and use this to cut it. What you're looking at here is a horizontal cutoff saw. The horizontal cutoff saw is used in rough cuts and cuts that we need to do to just get to the point where we could start manufacturing with it. We are expecting a new machine in. This is an old machine, but this works very good right now. The new machine will be in its place, and as soon as we get that going, then we will use that as part of our teaching point. What I'd like to show you next, this is a downdraft table. The downdraft table is used for grinding, where there's a filter in the bottom of the table. The grinding, sparks, and fumes go down into the filter, and that's where it's collected. Also, when we get a chance, if we get a shot of the plasma cutter, which is down into this section, we will also learn how to use a plasma cutter rather than a hacksaw and maybe even the vertical bandsaw. Okay, if we look to your left, two things that I wanted to show you is the setup here with the oxyacetylene. This setup that you're looking at has a chance to be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. This is part of all the safety. You have to pass a safety program before you can start working in my shop. Off to the back side, when we come through, you'll see a chop saw also that's a metal chop saw. It's different than a regular wood chop saw. Thing that I would like to show you is the booths. Actually, the booths that we have are new booths. The older ones are just over a year old, year and a half old. The next one is no more than 5 months after that. If you would look to your right, you'll see the difference between actually the colors, but the black ones are newer colors and the yellow ones are the older ones. This has nothing to do with the school colors, but it was. Booths themselves are tandem. If you look up to the top, if you could visualize up to the top, this is where the filter system is. So this one that is a shorter booth is connected with this longer booth, and it has what they call HEPA filters that clear all the fumes and sparks that go through this ventilation system into filters up on the top of the machine. The other machines that we have in the course, like this one back behind me, they're older machines, but this one here has the process of doing the shield metal arc welding and the tungsten gas arc welding. On each one of the booths And also inside the booths, when we first went through, all the tools are color coordinated so that they can be used by the special booth that's in there. They're numbered, color coordinated. This basically is just an accountability and also a responsibility control. The booth here, when we get a chance to look inside, this is a 3-process machine with flux core arc welding, shield metal arc welding, and you can use a TIG gun or TIG gas arc welding. One of the other stand-up machines that is very important to learn our safety aspects on it, this is a sanding machine. Or what we use it for is to deburr pieces that have like jagged edges on them. So the belt itself runs through and you are close to the point where you're holding the part close to the sanding wheel. So we have to make sure that you keep your hands from burning or getting on the wheel. The last machine that we want to look at in the shop is the plasma cutter. Now the plasma cutter here is a little bit different than the plasma cutter that you had seen up on the other side of the shop. This plasma cutter is CNC. CNC stands for computer numerical controlled. So it has a computer that you input a design and you cut the design from the computer using the plasma cutter. Okay, if you take a look in the shop, there's a flow of work. The flow of work basically sets it up so everything is done in one place. On the right-hand side of the shop, you have your welding. Come back to the back side, there's a milling, drilling, and cutting of metal. Over by our bay door, there's grinding and also oxyacetylene cutting and plasma cutting. Coming around this back side is more welding booths and the plasma cutter ending up that you had just seen. The way that the shop also is set up is that it's designed to have enough room for larger things to move through. Actually, we had an interior design person come in and set this inside of the shop up. Thank you very much.